So my next presentation will be disease surveillance in poultry. I think disease surveillance is very important in terms of establishing a compartmentalization, as the compartment is a concept of having a subpopulation in the compartment free from such disease. This is an example of HPAI, but there's also a need to do surveillance in both in the compartment and also in surrounding area to prove that HPAI is free from this setting. So today I will give you an idea of what's going on in Thailand in terms of disease surveillance in poultry. So before going into details, it's very important to understand the poultry production system in the country. So you will see the difference in terms of surveillance program for each of the production system. So as you can see there are 4 production systems exist in Thailand. The first 2 production system, which is have high biosecurity practices, is the compartmentalization and also the farm GAP. So basically, these 2 biosecurity system is for exportation and also some for domestic consumptions. While in sector number 3, it's a low to medium level of biosecurity practices. So this is for Thailand, we have the concept of good farming management, which is for domestic consumption, and it could be open housing farms and also captive native chicken. While in sector number 4, this is where we have the backyard poultry and also free grazing ducks with low biosecurity and only for domestic and household consumption. I think what is very relevant in terms of having the surveillance is you have to have law and regulations for animal health in order to authorize officials to enforce any animal disease control, to control any import, export of any risk of introduction of disease into the country, and also to quarantine and movement control, making sure that the disease does not spread. So as you can see up there, the 6th law that is important for DLD, and we already have it exist. The first one is the Animal Epidemic Act. The second one is also important beside the Animal Epidemic Act is the list of notifiable diseases. So if the diseases is on this list, it is very important that the farmers has to inform the officers, and officers, when the case is positive, has to go through the process of controlling the disease, which could be movement control, it could be like destruction of that animals, or which also include compensation as well. Other law is related to control of movement of animals that are suspected of cases, and also setting up guidelines to do disease surveillance and control in different aspects. It is also important that we have law and regulations from other relevant agencies, which is related to HPAI, such as in the public health and also in wildlife in number 7 and number 9. And in terms of having a compensation, it's very important that there is an emergency decree on disaster insurance promotion funded, that you will get funded if your animal is being killed. So this is the list of notifiable poultry diseases in Thailand. So as you can see on the left, the 6 priority diseases is avian influenza, Newcastle disease, monolosis, duck virus enteritis, fowl cholera, and also avian infectious bronchitis. But there are also other diseases which is on the list. Now let's get a little deeper on the surveillance program for AI and ND. So we have both surveillance program for domestic poultry and also for wild birds. Each of the surveillance program will include both passive surveillance and active surveillance. So in terms of passive surveillance, it is very important that we have a suspected case definition. So it has already been revised in 2023. As you can see there, that the clinical suspected sign is based on the poultry system that I have been telling you before. So if it's in the poultry that's been raised in a GAP farm, the clinical suspected sign will be as seen on the right-hand side there. And if it's in the free-ranging system, the clinical suspected sign will be different. It's like you will find at least 2 deaths of poultry within 2 days. So basically, these clinical case definition is to increase the sensitivity of detecting of any suspected cases. So if it matches these case definition is the responsibility of farmers to report to officials, authorities. So as been mentioned, that this is the flow of the reporting system. So the farmers who can report it through to livestock, volunteer, and then after that can inform the district livestock office, the provincial office, and then a sample will be submitted to the lab, and then they will report through the system, and they also report to the headquarters. So if the case is positive, there is an SOP or guidelines that the officers has to follow. And of course, because it's a zoonotic disease, so they will be collaborating with the people from the public health sectors as well to control and contain the disease. So in Thailand, we already know on passive surveillance. Now let's go to active surveillance. So we do active surveillance on movement when we want to move the animals. We do active surveillance to enhance the active surveillance program, and we also do serological surveillance. For active surveillance program of avian influenza and Newcastle, this is we do it for domestic poultry. So we do it to check the status of poultry before movement and also early detection of HPAI in the country, and also not only the HPAI but also the low pathogenic avian influenza virus as well. So the program was designed based on risk-based approach. So we don't collect all the animals or the poultry, but we considering target on species, on farming system, high risk area, and high risk period of the year. So the assessment we use to support the vet services in prioritizing area and timing of implementing surveillance. So as you know that we might not have that much budget to do the whole country surveillance, is basically on risk base. So this is what you can see there, number of samples that's been collected. So in terms of you want to move your animals, you will collect, could be swab, serum, carcass before movement. So I'll just focus on like compartmentalization. So during the racing period, this is the number of samples that you have to collect every 6 months to monitor it. And there's also for movement control, you can use the result that you have during the racing period. So there's no need to collect further swabs. So these are for movement permits that you have to monitor your flock. As been mentioned, active surveillance is to enhance any cases of HPAI or any suspected case. So to enhance this, we have a risk map that we provided for the provinces. So in terms of each of the provinces, they will have to go out and collect sample based on risk that's been provided by the headquarters. So there are a number of samples that they have to collect in terms of looking for weak or sick animals and target only in high risk group of poultry. So basically it's on free grazing and also in backyard poultry. So this regular implementation, we do this like monthly to have samples submitted to the lab and monitored for any cases of HPAI. Last one is on serological surveillance. So we do active surveillance on serological as well. So this is a designed sampling frame to look for any cases of suspected case of HPAI and also L, the low pathogenic HPAI, low pathogenic avian influenza as well. So we do serological surveillance in layer poultry farm, in GFM farm. If you remember, this is the production type number 3, which has low to medium biosecurity practice. We collect samples from ducks in GFM farm, native chicken in basic biosecurity, native chicken in backyard farms, and ducks in free grazing system. So this is a jointly work between the headquarters, the regional, and also in the lab. So besides doing surveillance has been mentioned in domestic animals or domestic poultry, we also do avian influenza surveillance in wild birds. So this is a collaborating program which includes Department of National Parks, Wildlife and Plant Conservation, and also from us, DLD, and also other university in conducting this kind of surveillance for Newcastle's and also avian influenza in wild birds. So we learn from the flyway of the animals and we do surveillance in order to early detections of any cases of suspected case of avian influenza in wild birds, and also the information can establish an early warning system for any possible introduction of the HPAI into the country. So thank you very much for your attention. I think you can learn from our experience in terms of poultry surveillance. I think one of the important key message that I would like to send to all of you is you can see that official authorities plays an important role in terms of surveillance in establishing of compartment. So we don't only not focus on the subpopulation in the compartment, but we also have to focus on other poultry system within the country. So I hope that these slides will give you an idea of what can we do in the future. Thank you very much.